Hey y'all, Branton and I here to do verses. We're going to be reviewing this album today. Love Forever Changes. And since this was my pick, I will go ahead and start. There's the record. This is the reissue of this record. Oh, there's a sleeve in here. I think it's just plastic. Yeah. So how I found out about Love is we were just discussing this. I'd never heard of them before.
Before what?
Before anything.
How long ago?
Huh?
How long ago did you discover them?
Well, let me tell my story. He's trying to confuse me.
No, I'm not.
So I was living with him. I guess it's been probably about a year and a half ago. And we were living in a small apartment, and I used to listen to YouTube just to music. Whatever would pop up would pop up. And this popped up. And I was listening to it while I was getting ready to go to work. And I was like, who is that? So I ran into the living room where the TV was playing music. And I saw this album cover on the TV. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to remember that. I'm going to have to remember that. That night when I got home from work, I was telling him about it, about what I'd heard and how I liked it. And I wanted to find that particular album. And he played me some more of their music, which I'm going to have to say I'm not too fond of. I mean, it's listenable, but it's not something that I have to have. This particular album, I like every single thing on it. Which is kind of strange, but I ended up finding this reissue copy of this album at Shake It, where we will record shop periodically, and I bought it, therefore I have it. But I love everything about this band. On this particular album. This, I don't know when the original was released. What would you say? Because this is a reissue, so it's not going to be on here.
I want to say it was in the late 60s, but I'm not positive.
It's a 60s band. Probably 60s, maybe
early 70s.
even early 70s. As you can tell from the picture on the back. I really honestly don't know what genre you would call them. They do have different aspects of different types of genres in their music, which we were discussing as well. There is some psych to what they are. There's some real gentle music. Almost not easy listening, but almost easy listening. What other things have we heard?
It's just, to me, it sounds like, for the most part, something you just hear on the radio. If you were listening to a 60s station, I should say.
They weren't a well-known band, so I can't really say that they were like 60s or 70s pop, because they really weren't well-known. But the songs that I like off of here, well, I like all the songs off of here. But I like, let's see. Old Man. I like that song.
Came out in 1967.
There you go, 67. The Good Humor Man, He Sees Everything Like This. I like that song. You Set the Scene, which is the last song on this album. I like that song. Alone Again, or I like that song as well. But I pretty much like the Daily Planet. I like that song too. But I pretty much like everything on here. So it's a really cool cover too. Really, really cool cover. So that is Love. If you don't know them, I would recommend them. If you like psychedelic 60s type music, then you might like them. So I would definitely give them a try if you've never heard of them. What do you got to say about it?
Well, what I was reading here, it says that they're a folk rock, garage rock, psychedelic rock, that album.
Well, there you go.
So I'd say it is a little bit of all of that. And
excuse me.
Let me see the track listing on there. Okay, that one's not on there. I didn't think it was, because I have a couple. It's a CD collection of theirs. It has that song, the one that I was reading on here. It's not on this album, My Little Red Book, which was co-written by Burt Bacharach of all people.
I like Burt Bacharach.
And then, well, that goes on into something else, but let me see the track listing again. Where's this song? I just seen The Red Telephone. I think that's the first song that I heard from them was The Red Telephone. And I think that I was made aware of Love by the VC. If you're not familiar with the VC, that's the Vinyl Community on YouTube. And
which we are currently on.
Yeah, which we are currently, So I don't know. I mean, I like it because it's to me it's an essential album that's not known by everyone. And when we were talking before we started recording about it, I compare them to a band like Big Star or the band Stars. One of those bands that were really, or Axe. A lot of those bands that are really underrated and never really broke through into the mainstream. Never had more than maybe one hit, if that. So. And I like everything from the 60s pretty much. I mean, as far as especially bands that are in that type of, as far as stuff that, I think of like Diana Ross and the Supremes. That's a band that is overplayed and has too many hits. I mean, all the hits, you like all the stuff, but it's like, it doesn't hold that special place. A band like say Love or some of the other bands I mentioned. It's almost like this is mine. It's my music. It's not everyone else's. Even though you want everyone to hear it because a lot of people's not familiar with it. And I've seen a lot of people show, especially this album, on the VC. And I think it was the last Foo Fighters record that was a takeoff of this cover. And I also think that the new Metallica album is sort of a variation of this cover, which it wasn't claimed to be that, but it's similar in the faces and stuff, the collage. So I don't know if that was a direct influence for Metallica or not, but I know the Foo Fighters, and you can look at that one and definitely see that. And I'm not sure. I know the original group Love went on. I think they recorded all the way up to 92, I want to say. And then they split up, and I don't know if it was the same version and got back together or if a different version, because I don't know a whole lot of the history about the band. But I have a couple of their other albums.
Really? They recorded all the way up to 1992?
That's what it said online.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, I don't know to what extent. Might have been very sporadic. I didn't look.
That's interesting.
So, that's all.
For them to have recorded for 30 years and not been one of the bigger, well-known bands, that's pretty cool to me.
And Tim Allen, if you're watching, please correct anything that I'd said that wasn't correct, because you know a lot more about this band or this period of music probably than I do. So give us some information.
What's your favorite song? The Red Telephone?
I don't really have a favorite song. I take this album as a whole. A lot of albums I do that with, because it's like one thing to me.
So what would you give it as far as spins?
I don't know, probably 8.
I'd go 9 with this one. I really enjoy listening to it. It's very relaxing music to me, for some reason. I mean, it's not slow music by any means, but for some reason it just relaxes me.
Playing vinyl is relaxing in general.
This is a true statement. So I give it a 9. So for next time, what will we be reviewing?
The next episode will be my pick, and we're going to do Zeppelin 1. That's our first, or that's our next.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Leave comments below. I know we're both posting videos, so check out both of our channels for updated videos. Also check out my Graveyard Shift video. I do have something new up. Anything else? No? Okay. Then we will see you soon. See you next time on Versus. Bye now.
Ta-ta.